Donald Trump's sick and twisted secret dark past is resurfacing, and we here at the MeidasTouch Network are not going to get distracted. I think one of the main things that Trump has trying to distract from over the past few weeks has been the Epstein files and the fact that Donald Trump is all over the Epstein files. Now, MAGA Republican Congresswoman Lauren Boebert just sat for a very bizarre and odd interview on a number of topics where she was also saying, Congress sucks. We suck in Congress. Very strange. But then she did mention, and we really do need to get to the bottom of the Epstein files. It's hard for me to say this, but I agree with Lauren Boebert there. I'll show you that clip in a minute so you can see for yourself. But let me explain to you what we know for sure. The Epstein files that have been released have Donald Trump's name on them. Donald Trump is in the deposition testimony of sex trafficking victims of Epstein who have testified under oath in depositions that Epstein brought them to Trump's casinos. A 14-year-old girl testified at the Ghislaine Maxwell sex trafficking criminal trial that when she was 14, she's a woman now, but she said that when she was a 14-year-old girl, she was brought to Mar-a-Lago by Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. We know that Virginia Giuffre, who recently died by suicide in Australia, when she was a girl, when she was underage, she was working at Mar-a-Lago. She was previously homeless, got a job somehow at Mar-a-Lago, I think through a connection, a family connection or something. And then Ghislaine Maxwell, who would scout the girls for Epstein, went to Mar-a-Lago. She was friends with Donald Trump, brought Virginia Giuffre to Epstein, and then Epstein started sex trafficking Virginia Giuffre. I mean, using Mar-a-Lago as the hunting grounds for underage victims. In the case of Virginia Giuffre, there's videos of Donald Trump partying with Epstein. Trump is on Epstein's phone log. He's on Epstein's call log. He's on Epstein's flight log. Epstein's been on Trump's plane before. Trump is quoted as saying Epstein is a great guy who likes women on the younger side. I think Trump was referring to girls. Donald Trump would throw beauty pageants for girls, teenagers, for girls. He would then hold boat parties. Where it was reported that the girls would grind on men old enough to be their grandparents, who would say, look at the girls that we got, look at the girls that we got. Really sick and disgusting stuff right there. Trump hosted the Look of the Year competition for these little girls. It's just so disturbing to even, see these things. Trump would have his kids hang out with Epstein. I could keep going on. That's what we know exists. That's out there in the public domain, right? There's the fact that there's a whole other batch of files, like, for example, the Doe 174 files, Trump's Doe 174 in some of these Epstein cases. If we wanted to find out what Trump did, a document request would say, release the Doe 174 files. I want to know all of the communications about that. Show me the grand jury testimony of the 14-year-old girl who testified at the Ghislaine Maxwell trial. There's going to be a ton of evidence there that links Trump to Epstein because there already is a ton of evidence out there that links Trump to Epstein. Now, I'm sure you remember that Trump and the MAGA crew promised us that they were going to release the Epstein files. Remember, they had a whole committee. Anna Paulina Luna was the MAGA Republican Congresswoman. She promised us in early February we were going to get the Epstein files. Remember, then she posted on February 27, 2025, I nor the task force were given or reviewed the Epstein documents being released today. A New York Post story just revealed that the documents will simply be Epstein's phone book. This is not what we or the American people asked for, and it's a complete disappointment. Get us the information that we asked for. That's when, back in February, remember they pulled the stunt where they had the right-wing influencers hold up the binder and say, this is the Epstein files. We got it. as though the Trump White House thought we, the people, would be so stupid to think this tiny binder is the Epstein files. No, it was the phone log that was released many, many years ago that, by the way, has Donald Trump's name in it over and over and over again. I could tell you where some of the Epstein files are. It's not hard. Vault.fbi.gov. The Epstein files are there. All these files are redacted. So it would actually be very easy to unredact these files. Just remove the redactions. I already know where they are. Vault.fbi.gov. And there's going to be tens of thousands of documents in these civil cases and the criminal cases of Ghislaine, of Jeffrey Epstein, and all of that. Release those files. Okay, so with that as background, here is what Lauren Boebert just said on a show that she did during an interview on Blaze TV's Prime Time with Alex Stein. Representative Lauren Boebert expressed support for releasing the full list of names tied to Jeffrey Epstein's network. But then she says, those files may have been tampered with. Here's what she says. Let's play the clip.
But now we talk about government transparency, this and that. Everybody's been getting mad about the Epstein stuff. I'm kind of the opinion, what are we going to see? Like actual physical sexual assault? We're not going to see that. I don't want to see that. What is there to see? That's what I'm saying. Like, what is there really even to see? That's where I'm kind of feel like we already know.
Anything anybody wants to see is the list. We want to see the list, period. I don't care what names are on it. I want to see what names are on it and why. So it's not a bipartisan issue. It is a bipartisan issue. And so I want to see what these folks were doing with Epstein. And I don't know. I mean, maybe the past administration has done away with the files, or maybe there's thousands and thousands of hours of video that they're going through, like we have heard as well. I certainly want these released. President Trump has done a great job of declassifying certain information, but also where has this information been in decades? Like through what hands has this information gone through when it comes to Martin Luther King Jr., when it comes to RFK and JFK? So there's still the element of, yes, we have a government that we should always question, right?
Yeah.
I'm a part of this system and I question it daily. Even within my own party, there's things that we are doing. I mean, look at the House of Representatives. We are a majority rule self-governing body. That means whatever party is in the majority, we make up the rules. Mm-hmm. In fact, every day, if anybody watches C-SPAN on a regular session day when we're passing legislation, every day we actually change the rules of the House of Representatives to pass the bill that we're going to vote on. So just to bring that bill to the floor, we have a vote on the rule because we're changing the rules. And so in all of this, it's fluid, and you should always question what is going on and seek truth. Now, that doesn't mean to be a crazy conspiracist and say that there's like something behind every single door. But I don't trust the hands that this information has gone through over decades when you're talking about all these declassified files now that have been classified, or even the Epstein files. You never know what has been removed or potentially even added. And so it's really difficult to find the absolute truth when there's been so many years of darkness that this information has been hidden in.
I know it is a complicated situation, and I think any transparency is good, but this is very sensitive stuff, so it's not going to just be like, here's 1,000 images of whatever you guys want to see. So I'm hoping.
Right, I don't think anybody wants to see that.
Yeah, exactly, and that's not what we expect. But
when you have Lauren Boebert and Jasmine Crockett agreeing on issues, we've reached a bipartisan moment here. And here, Jasmine Crockett pointed out, when was this, 2 weeks ago? The Lauren Boebert thing just happened. Lauren Boebert just happened. Jasmine Crockett said on, I think this is June 12th, you all realize that Trump's doing a lot of this crap to distract from the Epstein files. Like, he's terrified. Like, he knows his name's all over this thing. Here, play this clip.
To that, I know that there's been some conversations about what's going on in LA, and they want to say that it's riots because they didn't want people to keep talking about, say, the Epstein files or whatever other drama was popping off between the president and his little friend. So they wanted to change the conversation to immigration because they feel like, well, the polling is in our benefit. But let me tell you something. If they cared about making sure we were going to be fiscally responsible, they would tell the American people that it cost them $134 million to send the National Guard to LA for the quote unquote riots that the governor didn't ask for, nor did the mayor of LA ask for. And they sent them over there and they say that they care about our service members, yet they sent them and they were laying on the floor. They did not provide for food. So I don't know why we would believe that, number one, they want to fix this. They don't want to fix this. Because the brokenness is a feature, not a flaw of the system, because it is beneficial to them when it comes to campaigning. If they can't stoke fear, then why are they going to say, have anybody vote for them? Because that's what people are doing. They're voting out of fear. But
I'll just show you. Here's the video of Donald Trump with Epstein partying. Here's a 1992 party footage of them together. You can see for yourself. Play this clip.
We're going to get great ratings on your show.
Trump is surrounded by women as music blares in the background. After a while, Trump goes to greet 3 new guests. Among them, the financier Jeffrey Epstein.
Come on in. Go inside.
More than a decade before his guilty plea on state prostitution charges. Later in the footage, Trump is seen talking to Epstein and another man as women are dancing in front of them. Trump alternates between dancing and pointing out women to Epstein and the other man and telling Epstein about the cameras. Though exactly what they say is difficult to understand as they discuss the women and their appearances, Trump gestures to one and appears to say to Epstein, "Look at her back there. She's hot." And then Trump says something else into Epstein's ear that makes him double over with laughter. But as the president says now, he never liked Epstein.
I was not a...
Remember 3 months ago, this was Pam Bondi saying, oh, I have it on my desk. We're going to release it. Here, play this clip.
The DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now to review. That's been a directive by President Trump. I'm reviewing that. I'm reviewing JFK files, MLK files. That's all in the process of being reviewed because that was done at the directive of the president. Not yet. I was briefed on that yesterday. I can't talk about that publicly, but you know, President Trump has given a very strong directive, and that's going to be followed.
Wow. Okay. So
a lot of documents.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So people can expect actual movement on this. It's not just empty promises.
Oh, Donald Trump doesn't make empty promises.
Yeah, right.
I think promises made, promises kept.
And then the MAGA ecosystem, they're already having their excuses, right, about where the Epstein files are. You have Sean Hannity spending, a very long time defending Trump on Epstein. Play this clip.
And it got personal. Elon Musk claiming, oh, Trump is in the Epstein files. That's the real reason they have not been made public. Well, it's been well known that Donald Trump said that Elon was angry over Trump's decision to end the electric vehicle mandate. I can certainly understand why Elon wants that in the one big beautiful bill. Pretty obvious, pretty apparent, understandable difference. And on the Epstein issue, wasn't it Donald Trump? He booted Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago nearly 20 years ago because he was one of the first people to realize just how horrible Epstein really was. And by all accounts, he was kicked out because of his treatment of young women. Now, Democrats and the media, I'm just thinking out loud here. I'm just wondering, putting 2 and 2 together. I truly wonder if our old friend Bill Clinton, how you doing? Good to talk to you. We know he had a relationship with Epstein. That's been reported on. Is he in is Bill Clinton, is he in those files also? I can't say for sure. I haven't seen them. But if I was a betting man, I know where I'd put my money. Now, if by some, chance that Bill Clinton is in there, I wonder if he kicked Epstein out of his life as publicly as Donald Trump did. I guess if Donald Trump felt that Epstein had something on him, he probably wouldn't have kicked him out of his club. Inquiring minds, I think they'll want to know that. So let's be...
MAGA Republican Charlie Kirk trying to defend all of this. Play this clip.
Now, 10 years later, we're supposed to believe there's going to be a smoking gun of something in the Epstein files. But what is in the Epstein files is, yes, President Donald Trump is probably mentioned. He was mentioned in the Epstein file dump back in February. You know why? He lived in Palm Beach. There's probably thousands of names in the Epstein files. Was he part of the Epstein client list? Absolutely not. That is complete nonsense. But to say that Donald Trump is not releasing the Epstein files because he's in them in some incriminating way, yes, it's very clear that if you live in Palm Beach, you might have been mentioned and caught up in some sort of conversation with Jeffrey Epstein.
And look, we had author Michael Wolff on the MeidasTouch podcast, and he was considering being Epstein's biographer. He never did it, but Epstein consulted him, and he says, I've got 80 to 90, 100 hours of Epstein on tape. And he spoke a ton about his relationship with Donald Trump. Let's release those files here. Play this clip.
And he sat for many, many hours of discussion with me. I mean, certainly 80, 90, probably 100 hours I have of Epstein on tape. And one of the discussions, because this was occurring, Trump became the president in 2017, I began writing about Trump. And so we spent a lot of time talking about Donald Trump and Epstein's relationship with Trump, which went on for a good, certainly 15 years and was incredibly close. They were, each other's closest friend for a very long time. And Epstein, I think Epstein is one of those people who truly knew Donald Trump, knew many secrets about Donald Trump, and was threatening to Donald Trump.
So I guess here, let me tell you what my thought is, right? Democratic Congressmember Robert Garcia just took over the Oversight Committee. I'd love to see the Democrats hold some shadow hearings. Right? Remember the shadow hearings? We played them before here. Do a shadow hearing on Epstein and the connection between Trump and Epstein, and bring in people who know, and let's have that conversation. We're not going to get distracted here on the MeidasTouch Network when it comes to this stuff. What I laid out for you is the objective evidence. Google it, search it. If you think there's anything that I said was incorrect, fact check me. But that's where we're at right now. Thanks for watching. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 6 million subscribers.
New Meidas merch drop! Check out the latest pro-democracy sticker packs, t-shirts, hats, sweatshirts, and more. All at store.meidastouch.com.